What did I tell ya? What did I tell you, folks? I said it a few days ago that if you are going to go out there and make any sort of an ad to your fantasy hockey team, Jacob Fowler should be the guy. Now, let's ignore the fact that Fowler has not actually been perfect throughout his entire stint in the National Hockey League up to this point. Yes, it's true, he got the shutout, but it did not come without some pain, because the previous two games before that, against New York and Philadelphia, were not particularly great statistics-wise. But either way, they don't ask how, they ask how many, and for Jacob Fowler, he is all the way up there at the big number one. One shutout in the NHL, with a total of a .915 save percentage and a .249 goals against. Who cares that he had some pretty bad stinkers in there? He has gone out there and stopped up 31 of 31 shots versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. They should just play Fowler against Pittsburgh every time Montreal plays Pittsburgh. He seems to do very well against the Pens. Yesterday, we saw Jacob Fowler getting his first NHL shutout, 4-0 versus Pittsburgh. 31 saves, and we did see the goals go in as follows. Juraj Slafkovsky on the power play. Owen Beck with his first of the year. Josh Anderson shorthanded. Josh Anderson on the empty net. Whoop-de-doo, man. Philippe Danault gets traded back over to Montreal, and Josh Anderson starts putting it in the back of the net. How sweet is that? Will we see Philippe Danault and Brendan Gallagher be placed on a line together? Or will Danault take the spot with Ivan Demidov on that second line? Who really knows? One thing's for sure, though. Danault is going to help out with that penalty kill, a penalty kill which saw Josh Anderson speed by Sid the Kid and defeat Pittsburgh's rush, getting one by that same Stuart Skinner that was just traded over to Pittsburgh a few days ago. And if we go over to the game review, let's dive into what commentary we saw from Jacob Fowler. I wanted to go over some comments from Fowler himself, as well as from Sidney Crosby, because there were a few really interesting quotes from yesterday's game after it was concluded. So stick around till the end of this video when we go out there and talk about Sid the Kid. But in regards to Jacob Fowler, 31 saves, first NHL shutout. We're going to keep on repeating it because obviously this can be the first of many successes with this guy. It's cool. It's another puck to give to my dad and let him put in the trophy case, Fowler said. I was just grateful for the guys and the effort in front of me. They made my job pretty easy tonight to see pucks and be under control. And I think we've been good the last few games, and I just need to make a couple more saves, like tonight. Fowler's shutout came in his fourth start. The 21-year-old native of Melbourne, Florida, made 36 saves in his debut. The way he carries himself, it seems like he's been ready for it for a long time. Canadiens coach Martin St. Louis said. Josh Anderson scored twice, and Owen Beck got his first NHL goal for Montreal, who has won 3 of 4 games and are 4-1-1 in their past 6 games. Fowler made a lot of good saves, and he has been great so far since he got here, and I'm happy for him that he got the shutout, Juraj Slafkovsky said. The guys played really hard in front of me. Okay, this is Stu Skinner from the Pittsburgh POV. I guess we can read this one too. A lot of big blocked shots tonight. And you saw as the second period and third period went on, we were taking over the game. I really like how he responded, especially being down going into the third. How the guys came out was impressive. Now, this is where we get into some of the crazier stuff about the game. Let's save this for later and just talk about the statistic of Fowler's shutout first and foremost. Yeah, we're going to take a little bit of a breather to talk about shutout records first, but Jacob Fowler becomes the third youngest goalie in Habs history to record his first shutout after Patrick Waugh and Carey Price. Take a look at this. Youngest goalies in Montreal Canadiens history to get their first shutout. Patrick Waugh was 20 years and 102 days when he got his first shutout. Carey Price, 20 years and 184 days. And then Jacob Fowler, 21 years, 26 days. If you round down, he's essentially in the 20s too. So Fowler, Waugh, and Price, not a bad batch of goaltenders to keep in the back of your mind as we continue into the rest of Jacob Fowler's career. It took Price 23 games to get his first shutout and 22 for Waugh. Jacob Fowler, it only took him 4 games. And then, hey, just remembered it took Jakub Dobeš 1 game to get his first shutout. Okay, we're not gonna fully toss Dobeš into that conversation too. He was a little bit older after all, despite only playing 1 game. Good company, never heard of Waugh or Price. How did those guys turn out? We're winning the cup with this kid. He's still got it. That's the thing, man. Jacob Fowler going out there and putting together some really impressive records, and that is reflected in the game yesterday. Take a look at this write-up. Sidney Crosby remained 1 point from tying Mario Lemieux for the Penguins' all-time scoring record. Crosby has 1,722 points in 1,386 games. He has been trying to tie the Mario Lemieux record for quite some time now. It's been a while since Sid the Kid has actually scored a point, and I'm only saying that tongue-in-cheek because it is Sidney Crosby and we know how good he is, but he has not scored in 2 straight games here, back-to-back shutout losses versus the Senators and the Canadiens. We saw Ottawa poke fun at the Sidney Crosby record on Twitter, saying that he wasn't able to tie the record, and Montreal doesn't give him that record either. I don't know that, or I didn't know that, excuse me, Fowler said. I think any time that Crosby is on the ice, you're alert. He's one of my favorite players. You know when he's on the ice every time, and you want to stop him, so I'm just lucky I got the better end of it tonight. Slavkovsky then had some comments on the power play, trying to win every single puck. He ended up getting that power play goal, of course. And then there are some other comments here made by Owen Beck. You've got Josh Anderson, Erik Karlsson going out there and speaking about the situation. There are also some notes. Crosby sustained a cut to the face when he was struck by Penguins D-man Brett Kulak's stick at the 7:16 minute mark of the second. So friendly fire there from Kulak and Sid. He went to the dressing room briefly before returning. Jake Evans left the game after sustaining a lower body injury in a collision with Justin Brazeau in the first. He is still being evaluated. Hudson is the fastest Canadiens defenseman to 100 points and the 11th fastest Montreal player. At the age of 21 years and 26 days, Fowler is the youngest Canadiens goaltender with a shutout since Carey Price on April 1st, 2008, and the 6th youngest U.S.-born goaltender to ever record an NHL shutout. Now, we did promise some Sid the Kid coverage, other than the lack of points out of him. Let's dive into what Sidney Crosby said about his opposing number 1 center on the opposite team. This is what he said about Nick Suzuki. Was this before the game? I think it was. Okay, that's fine. We can still talk about it here. Sid said, I think that Nick Suzuki is just dangerous offensively and takes pride in playing in his own end. That's something when he was even a younger player, that was always the case as well. That's something he's always focused on and taken seriously. Hey, it takes one to know one, Sid. He is absolutely the pinnacle of all-around forwards in the NHL who have dominated at both ends of the rink. So for Sidney Crosby to say that about Nick Suzuki, pretty high praise, I would say. Lots to like out of Sidney Crosby's understanding for the folks that he plays against and with. So it's nice to see him spreading the love and showcasing some of the other talents in the NHL that are deserving of it. Just one playoff run with Sid, please. Okay, we'll wait and see if that's ever able to happen. The Canadiens just got Philippe Deneau. Do they need Crosby at this point? I'm not really too sure. But with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Jacob Fowler getting his first NHL shutout in his 4th NHL game? The fact that he is the 3rd youngest Canadiens goaltender to do so, following in the Patrick Waugh and Carey Price footsteps. And what are your thoughts on Sidney Crosby speaking out about Nick Suzuki, giving that guy some pretty big praise? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.